Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Today's mortgage moment is going to be on first-time home buyers. Whether it's you've got first-time home buyer clients today or your goal for 2025 is to help more first-time home buyers get into a home, this message is going to be all about our first-time home buyers. And first, let's start off with who exactly is a first-time home buyer. A first-time home buyer would be somebody who has not owned a home in the last 3 years or has ever owned a home. So if your client owned a home in 2008 and sold that home in 2020, that would make them eligible as a first-time home buyer. Or if your client has never bought a home and is looking to purchase a home, that would make them a first-time home buyer. Depending on whether your clients need assistance with down payment or they're wanting to get the best interest rate and lowest payment, your friends at Prosperity Lending can help you out. One of the things that many first-time home buyers believe is that there is just an automatic first-time home buyer program, which is incorrect. There are several programs out there that can benefit if they are a first-time home buyer, but it does depend on what their needs are. As an example, if our first-time home buyers need down payment assistance, well, we would take them through the path of Home at Last, Home is Possible, at Chenoa perhaps, and maybe even our new down payment assistance program through Arrive Down Payment Assistance. And if your first-time home buyer clients have down payment but are looking for a lower interest rate and most affordable mortgage payment, we can assist them through the community lending program, Home Ready, and also through some of our conventional loan programs. So for more information on how we can help you and your first-time home buyers either market or get them into a home utilizing the different programs out there that benefit our first-time home buyers, please feel free to reach out to your favorite Prosperity Lending loan officers and make it a great week.
Hello, Signature Real Estate Group, and welcome to our weekly virtual, now I guess monthly virtual sales meeting. I have an amazing topic today to present to you that we kind of highlighted in our sales meeting last week. We have a new affiliate partnership with Valor Medical. And today I have with me Ben and Brett, who are the mainstay of that group. And they're going to talk to us about what they do and how that program can benefit you. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about both of you, where you're from, and tell us about your journey into the career that your path you've chosen.
First, I guess I'll go first. I'm Brett, Dr. Brett Hirama. I'm not sure where the... well, I grew up all over the country. I was not a military brat, but my dad moved all over, was a professor, and then ended up in Indiana. Indiana's where I went to high school, so that's kind of where I consider to be home.
Nice.
And
like Hoosiers?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And then from there, I right out of high school, joined the military because, sounds cliche, but because I wanted to serve. I love this country and wanted to serve the country, at least for a time. Put that little plaque on the wall, said I did my time on the wall.
Sure.
And so that's where, the whole military thing started for me.
Wow.
So I'm Ben. I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania, a very small rural dairy farm area. Lived in the same house my whole life. We never moved. From the time I was born, had the same bedroom.
Wow.
My brother had joined the Air Force. He's 4 years older than me, so he had been in and serving for a while. I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated. I went and I stayed with him, saw kind of how he was doing very well for himself, and I was like, I want to do this. So I enlisted right out of high school and ended up staying 25 years.
Amazing. So worst real estate client ever, same house all the time growing up, but that's okay, we'll get past that. So give us a little bit of background about your journey in the military, like how you started out and over your 25 years and your time that was there, what it looked like.
For me, I went in right away to explosive ordnance disposal.
Oh, wow.
It's known as EOD, that is the Air Force's bomb squad. I was in that for 12 years, absolutely loved it. That's what got me into medical, though.
Okay.
We never had medical support out on our ranges. We would request it. Med Group would deny it. They didn't have enough people. Our commander had come down to us and said, hey, I will pay for some volunteers to go to EMT school if anybody wants to volunteer. So a couple of us volunteered, and we would have our normal day job, and then at night we would go down to University of Arkansas Medical Sciences. Mm-hmm. We'd be right there on campus, going through EMT school. And being immersed in that med school environment, I loved it. And I was like, can I get out and become a doctor? And I probably could have, but it would have been pretty difficult with a family already, walking away from a job and trying to go to med school.
Sure.
I found the Air Force has a physician assistant program where you can stay in. They will pay you to go to school. You just owe back time.
Mhm.
So I did that. It's all accredited through University of Nebraska. Got my bachelor's, my master's as a PA in 2009. So I've been.
Does that make you a Cornhusker?
No.
Okay.
Nittany Lions. So I have been a PA for 15 years now.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Brett?
Well, when I graduated high school, I went straight into the Air Force Academy,
Mhm.
and then did high energy physics, and then went to grad school, got a master's degree in science, MS in nuclear engineering, and so I served in the Air Force for about 8 years after that, doing rocket science stuff. But then it was the late 90s,
Uh-huh.
had drawdown, and so I'm kind of a hands-on kind of person. I don't like to manage other people. I like to do it myself.
Sure.
And so that drawdown meant that people in the scientific field were kind of being forced into acquisition, which was not my gig. So, but the Air Force said, well, how about we send you to med school? So they sent me to med school. And then, so for the last 20 odd years or so, a little bit more, I've been doing, serving the Air Force as a flight surgeon.
Wow. That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about your time in the medical field as a doctor. What was it like doing that in the Air Force, going through that process?
Well, so when you finish med school, you got to kind of pick a residency and pick kind of what especially you're going to do. And for me, for the Air Force, going into flight medicine was kind of the way I wanted to do it because, again, the hands-on kind of thing. Flight medicine is basically you take care of the air crews, and you are directly involved with the mission that the Air Force has. So that was kind of the angle that I like. Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do, and so that's the opportunities there, going all over the world, meeting just amazing people.
Sure.
And you always hear the cliche with the fighter pilots and stuff like that. They think they are top dog, if you will. They think they're something special. And but when you're a doctor, you get to see these people in compromising situations, if you will. So you're not intimidated.
Yeah.
And once you get over that, and that kind of that false bravado that they provide and stuff like that, there are some really cool people.
Okay.
Some of the fighter pilots are just amazing people, and so I just love that part of it, is getting to know those.
Do you have
guys.
a call sign?
I do.
What is it?
Gamma.
Gamma.
Gamma. That's a little bit of reference back to the whole high energy physics stuff, and
It's amazing the transition to go from high energy physics to medicine. I mean, what a difference that's got to be. Or was it a great platform for it?
So it did provide me a lot in some aspects, but I quickly found out in med school that medicine is actually, I would say, more of an art than a science, which is kind of weird because we're trying to get it to be more of a science and based on actual science and stuff like that. But honestly, for the majority of what you experience with a patient, it's being able to piece out what they're experiencing. I mean, you can write down these are my symptoms and stuff like that, but until you actually talk to them and interact with them, it doesn't always just fit right into an algorithm. So if you go online and you say, these are my symptoms and what do I have? I mean, it'll give you a list of all these possible things it can be. And some of them are like, okay, no, you actually don't have uterine cancer. Even though the symptoms are the same.
Sure.
And so, that's the part of it that was kind of eye-opening to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the scientific part of it was very grounded, at least for me, as easy
It's amazing.
stuff.
Amazing. Ben, tell us about your journey as a doctor.
So I went right into family practice.
Yep.
I've seen everything from kids to geriatrics for the past 15 years. I've spent a year in Afghanistan with an Army infantry unit as the sole medical provider. I've had all different kinds of trainings, and I'm still interested in growing my knowledge base. I'm going to start doing some courses on functional medicine. I went to the White House.
Oh.
I was a White House PA for both President Obama, Vice President at the time Biden, President Trump, Vice President Pence, and their families.
So, like, is that like they you've seen in like West Wing or the movies where they have an entire group at the White House that basically handles the healthcare of the president?
Yes.
So, was that cool, or I mean, you kind of got to the end of that. It didn't sound like, hey, guess what I did?
No, it was challenging in the aspects of it was consuming all of my time.
Oh, I bet.
It was a really cool experience, and I don't want to downplay that because I got to go to some amazing places and do some amazing things that other people don't get the opportunity to. But they just work you constantly. There's no days off. It is even when you take leave, you still have work to do for your next trip that's coming up when you get back because you got to do a lot of lead work, a lot of paperwork. Actually, like treating them as patients, that's simple. That's the fun part.
Yeah. So if you both had to pick one thing that is your favorite part about the career path you've chosen, what would that be?
For me, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's the, and I mean, I had no, I had, when you're young, you don't think like, okay, what am I going to do for the next 20 years? You think like, you know, what's the next girlfriend I'm going to have or whatever. And so I wasn't looking to make the Air Force a career, but once I got into the Air Force and you go to the different assignments, and it's just amazing the people that you work with are just quality people. Not 100%.
Sure.
But the vast majority. So those military members that are out there serving, they, for the most part, have, you know, they're grounded and they have kind of like a higher purpose. Mm-hmm. And they're respectful and, you know, kind of have to be, but, and so I just loved working with the actual Air Force members. Mm-hmm. So all of the people on the, whatever team I was happened to be involved with, I just getting to know them and working with them and stuff like that. Which
it's not work when you love what you do, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
One of my favorite parts is making a difference for people. I've had patients book appointments with me just to tell me thank you for the stuff I did for them at their last appointment because it has worked and it changed the symptoms they were having.
Yeah.
I've had patients just tear up with thanks that I've actually listened to them because I've been on their side. I've sat on an exam table waiting for a provider to come in. This was before I was medical.
Sure.
And you're waiting and you're like, did they forget about me? So you start rummaging through drawers and hoping they hear you getting in stuff so that they come into the room and check on you. And then some person comes in and they're just like, oh, well, you've got this. And they walk away and you're like, what is that? What do I do about that? No kind of education. Well, I guess I go to the pharmacy, right? So you go and you wait and you don't get instruction on how to take medication. And I won't do that to people. I refuse to do that to people. I make sure people know the next step. I make sure that I listen to people to start off with.
Yeah.
So to treat people the way that I want to be treated and to get their appreciation, I love that, to see that turnaround.
When I introduced Brett at the sales meeting, I shared I'd just been to my primary care provider, my old one, previously, and went in and I had an appointment at 1:00. I got there a little bit early, which I don't know why I do. Like, why get there early? Because it won't matter, right? And it took 20 minutes for them to call me up to the counter just to get the rest of the info they've already had 5 times, and then they take me back and put you in that room, and I was there 40 minutes. 40 minutes in the room waiting, and you hear those footsteps outside, and it's just agonizing because patience is not a virtue many people have, right? And then, a fantastic lady, of course, she comes in and she sees me and says a few things, asks a few questions. I had a whole list of stuff I want to talk about. And by the time she got done with her questions, I forgot. Maybe that's a symptom of something I have. And then she was gone. And it's kind of like you lost the opportunity, and I don't want to go through another hour to get it again because the appointment will be a month from now.
Yeah.
And so that's such a huge part, and I think that's such a great part of your program.
I want to point out, you told that story.
Yeah.
And then you said, so I want to introduce you to a doctor.
Yeah. One that will listen to you. One that will listen to you.
I think the national
They didn't throw anything at you either.
No, they didn't.
The national average right now is 8 minutes that a provider sees you for.
Wow.
That's all the FaceTime you get.
That's crazy.
And Honestly, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You can't practice good medicine like that. You can't take care of people in 8 minutes.
It's like there's this overwhelm because they've got too many people, and it's always kind of agonizing to me, because when you find a great provider, someone who does listen and takes care of it, you refer to them and you tell people about them. And I've actually had the scenario happen where the provider got too busy to have time to see me, right? And so that's one of the things I love about your practice that you're going to talk about later, is about the size of what you want it to grow to. Let's go back to, you said what you liked most about your career path. What do you like least? As medical professionals, what do you see that you're like, man, I just don't like this part of it?
The system in general. It's to me, in my personal opinion, it's a broke system. Just what I described earlier. We have too many patients. Everybody needs something, and we have too little time to take care of them.
Yeah.
We have insurance companies dictating what care I can give. We have insurance companies running through algorithms that are outdated. We have guidelines that don't make sense. We have ridiculous electronic medical record systems that are built by coders and not by providers. It will take longer to chart on a patient than to see and treat the patient.
That's crazy. Just the notes of what you find out and the whole thing take longer than that.
Yeah, because if you want paid for it, you have to prove to the insurance company that you did 5 check blocks out of this section and then 6 out of this section, or else you don't get paid.
Crazy. Brett, what do you think?
I'll piggyback on that same kind of basic idea. I mean, it's the paperwork, it's the time spent away from the patient. That's the most, and there's a reason for it. I mean, it's not in a vacuum that all these things are happening, but a lot of it is the actual insurance companies. I mean, they're in a business, so they've got to, try to make their business profitable and try to bring their costs down and stuff like that. A lot of it is driven by the government. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the stuff makes sense on the surface to, hey, we need to address this issue, whatever. But when you have somebody in thousands of miles away, perhaps deciding, okay, everybody needs to be, assessed for whatever. But when it trickles down to our level where we're actually interacting with the patient, it gets in the way of the actual patient care. So it's very frustrating to be. I mean, that was probably the biggest thing, is that it's like all the stuff that's getting in the way between the provider and the patient. Like he said, dictating how it is you're going to actually treat this patient. It's nobody else's business, really. At least in my opinion, I think it's the patient's decision to make. Whatever decision they make about their own health should be what we respect. I can totally disagree with whatever decision the patient makes,
Sure.
But that's the decision they make. Then let's do the best we can do, given that that's their decision.
When you guys pointed out like that, of all the time that's put into documentation for all the reasons, like you said, for insurance coverage, for just protection and litigation and things that happen. I have been to a doctor where they had their back to me the whole time on a computer, asking me questions, like there was no interaction and contact. I had the opportunity to actually see your office and your setup. And it's kind of interesting to me that you guys don't just have an exam table in one chair. It's a conference table in a sitting area where you want to sit down and interact with the patient so that you can actually have some connection. What a monumental idea in the medical practice that I think you guys have really made a difference for that. I got to point out the fact that both of you, and thank you for your service to this country. It's amazing careers that you've had and things that you've done. Both of you had the option to retire and to just enjoy the hard work you've had, and you made the decision to open a private practice. What led you to want to do that?
Well, I didn't really have the option to retire. It gets to a point where you have to retire. So I did reach that point. But to be honest, it was probably about 2 years ago that I started to recognize it's time. It's time for you to retire and move on. You just get to that point where you kind of outage everybody else that's still in the service. And all of my contacts and stuff like that had already retired. And so you lose some of those, I don't know, that networking and
Sure.
stuff like that. And you just get set in your ways and stuff. So it was time for me to do it. And then it happened that we were talking with close friends of ours at a Christmas party, actually, and he has set up a practice very similar to what we're doing, and talking about how he just loved it. He was also in the Air Force previously as a PA, and we're like, wait a minute. So all the good things that we saw as far as medicine and being able to treat with patients, stuff like he was saying, he was able to do that. We like, I didn't know that even system even existed, especially not out in the civilian world. And so started getting excited about it. And so I went to Ben and said, what do you think? And he was on board right away. He's
That's
like,
awesome.
Now, let's do it now. So
Right now today.
so we've slowly, gotten together and built this up the way that
Sure.
we think that will actually work. So
Yeah. For me, it's knowing that we get to do things our way. We get to change the system. Instead of just sit around saying it's broke, it's broke. Nobody's going to fix it. And we're not going to fix it either, but we're going to offer an alternative.
Yeah.
A different way forward. It's something that we get to do that'll be ours.
Mhm.
And we don't have referral management telling us that sleep study can't go in because we didn't check some certain block.
It's funny you bring that up. I'm still waiting for mine. Hey, so to get to the guts of this, explain to us what, and you call it direct primary care. Explain to us what direct primary care is and how it works versus, just your regular doctor that I currently have.
Sure. Quite a few differences. I'll hit on a couple of the big ones and then we'll kind of get into it from there. Right away, we take out the insurance companies.
Oh, nice.
So anybody that comes to see us, we're not going to take your insurance. You can have insurance, and we want you to have insurance. But for us, you'll do a monthly subscription. That monthly subscription will get you unlimited access to us. I use this example all the time. Probably people are getting tired of it, but oh well. Say you're one of our members. You're cooking dinner at night. You're rushing. They got away from you. You cut your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 8:30 at night. You got a gash in your finger, and you're like, do I go to urgent care? Do I go to the ER? What do I do with this? Well, if you're one of our members, text us a picture of it.
Yeah.
It might be something as, hey, clean it this way, wrap it up like this way, and I'll see you first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Or I might say, hey, that looks pretty bad. Go ahead and wrap it up. Come over to the clinic. I'll open it up for you, and I'll clean it, suture you, make sure your tetanus is good, dress it, get you back out to your house. In and out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
No charge for that because you're one of our monthly members.
Yeah.
So no insurance. Everything's just handled right through us and the patient. We're going to offer, when somebody enrolls with us, we will get their medications and we will stock that at our practice. We'll be able to give you wholesale prices for your medications. We already have contracts with Steinberg and with CPL for labs. We will send you there for your lab work. You can use your insurance there if you want,
Mm-hmm.
but the prices that we've negotiated are cheaper. So definitely check that out.
It's interesting you say that because I just had the occurrence in my family where my wife needed a series of Steinberg imaging tests done. And even with my insurance, it was over $1,000. And they kind of discussed that they have some contracts and cash prices that would have been dramatically less.
Yes.
But I went with my insurance because that's what you do, right? And so in your example, there could be a possibility where I actually am saving additional money by those relationships to make that happen.
Yes.
That's pretty cool in itself. And you must talk to my wife because she cut her finger cooking the other day. So.
People get stuck on this thought process of we need health insurance.
Yeah.
There are examples where we need it, but think of it in terms of car insurance. You don't use your car insurance to pay for oil changes.
Yeah, true.
You don't use your car insurance at Discount Tire. You use it for the major things.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same with your health insurance.
A lot of the times when it's something like, cutting your finger or things like that, you freak out because you're like, could this get infected? Am I going to need a new finger? I mean, what's going to happen? And some of times it's just reassurance that everything will be okay. Take this process. You don't get that through the current medical system. Even if you use like a teledoc or something like that. I've done teledoc and my wife and I were both sick. We both called in. We got the same person and she had a cold and I had the flu and we live in the same house, right? And we kind of said, that doesn't make any sense, but that's how they diagnosed it. But having that relationship with you, you're able to actually ask more questions and participate with us. I mean, that makes all the difference.
direct primary care versus traditional. We take out the insurance. You do a monthly subscription that's low. We cap our patients. Currently, over at the Air Force Clinic that I currently work at, 1,250 patients enrolled to me.
Wow.
I can't take care of all them. I try my best,
Yeah.
but it's frustrating. We are going to cap our patients at a low number, half of that, and see how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have space in our day where we can take on more, then we'll start opening up to more. But we're going to start with 600.
That makes sense. So with that, I mean, I kind of feel that my primary care provider is overwhelmed. And you feel that when you go in the office, there's, you're 50, 60 people in a room just waiting to see. And so it seems like, if there was less people, there'd be more time. And so when you say like you're accessible, that means like if I have 2 or 3 occurrences in a week, it doesn't mean that you'll stop talking to me because I have 2 or 3. It means that I have that ability to interact with you and communicate.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have, you're right. They are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different attitude in a clinic or a practice when they're not overwhelmed. People are smiling more. Everybody's happy. They're happy for patients to come in because they get to actually take care of them the proper way.
Yeah. So the subscription service part of it is intriguing because, and you said it's affordable, meaning that, I have this cost of insurance, and insurance never seems to be affordable. It always seems to be exuberant. And there's always these questions. Do you want good insurance, so-so insurance, or just we'll talk to you once in a while? Without having that middleman of the insurance company in the middle, what does that do to the process itself?
Well, first of all, the whole thing with insurance, I mean, obviously insurance is their business.
Yeah.
They need to make their money. Taking them out of that, I think of it as interference, but that's going to save a ton of money right there.
Mm-hmm. Co-pays, deductibles, those kind
all
of things.
That, yes. And there are a lot of options out there that most people, I don't think, know about that are insurance alternatives, if you will. And they're perfect for depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Now, if you have, if you're working for a company and they give you the auto workers or something, and they give you a gold-plated insurance through your work, I would totally recommend you stay with it because it's gold-plated. A lot of us are in that situation, part-time workers or what have you, and so you're looking for your insurance yourself. And I think one of the things that we can offer is part of what the subscription provides is that we will do a full exam basically every year on you. And with that, we're basically looking at, okay, what are your risk factors and stuff like that? And we can give you an assessment, okay, this is where you are health-wise. And then we can offer information. Can't really do advice because we're not qualified to do advice as far as getting insurance. But a lot of people don't need insurance.
Yeah.
If you're 26 years old in perfect health, buying gold-plated insurance, for $500-600 a month doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You can. There are other ways to do it, and we can explain some of those other options that you have, and you can make an informed decision on what insurance that makes sense for you to actually carry.
As we've discussed, in our field, in our industry, a lot of times, we make incomes that are seasonal that go through a process. You create a closing, you have 60 days that go by, and you create another one, you have another. So the problem with insurance is they want a payment every month. And sometimes real estate agents don't receive those closings like that every month. And so what I like about this setup is there are many, many in our industry that don't have any insurance because of that. Meaning there are many that have gone without insurance. I mean, for many, many years, I went without insurance because I just never usually got sick. When I had a cold, I had to Tylenol cold it out as long as I could. And I always kind of thought, man, it would have been great to have a doctor or someone to ask with or get a prescription or, things like that. And so I think this answers that problem. Because it's very difficult for people in our industry because they're small business owners. We've been fighting that battle of getting quality insurance. And we didn't have this option that we knew of. We didn't have a subscription base where we could go and have a great primary care provider that would talk to us. And I think that's what I saw the value in your program is I spent a decade looking for it and you weren't around. But now I know where you were at. Tell us about your team that you have with you. How is it set up? What can I expect when I go into the office? What does it look like?
It's a great looking office.
Yeah, it is a great looking office.
So we have 4 people. We have Doc Prima. He's going to be obviously the doc. His wife Becky is our nurse.
Uh-huh.
I am the PA, and then my wife Jenna is our bookkeeper and office manager.
Well, you guys had it built in perfectly. That's awesome. Okay.
I would say that all 4 of us consider ourselves to be equal partners in this little enterprise. And all 4 of us are perfectly able to, we are fully authorized and stuff to make any decisions that a patient would have.
Sure.
So you call, you get my wife Becky, you get Jenna, you get Ben, myself, anybody. We can make we can answer your questions. We can get the information that you need. So any one of us is
I heard you say that earlier, and I think that was something very intriguing that you hit on. Because usually, if you have a doctor, you have that doctor, and you have that doctor and that doctor's staff. With your program, I have all of you. And so it won't be that I only know Brett and I never talk to Ben, and it won't be that I only see Ben. You guys work together, or you're planning to work together with every patient so that there's multiple providers of help and support. I think that's I don't understand why more doctors don't have that type of setup, but like you said, they're overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed. They're handcuffed with debt.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, the Air Force paid for our schooling. So other providers are stuck in a job because they can't leave.
Sure. That's a great point. Okay, so a couple of things about us as industry. Right now in November and December, usually we go into what we call business planning for our production of sales and things we're going to do. And what I like about your service, it's almost like health planning. Like it's almost like me creating a plan to become better or to feel better. Not that I'm going to lose 500 pounds or anything like that, but that the fact that my health is as important as my wealth. And that's why I like this affiliation that we've created, because we want our agents to enjoy their quality of life. We want them to enjoy the hard work they put into it. And so when I went through your program and had those conversations, it was kind of enjoyable that we sat and talked about what I want for my health and what my wife wants for her health. Is that what every agent can expect as they go through that process?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that the patient really decides what they want from the stuff. Obviously, you come in and say, well, what do you want health-wise? And you say, well, I want to look like Atlas. And I want to, be like I'm 20 years old again and all this kind of stuff. Okay. But okay, we can help you towards that goal, but obviously there's going to be some sacrifices that need to be made.
Sure.
Because to get there, there's going to have, and okay, so that means that you don't get dessert, or you have to go to the gym 5 hours a day, or whatever it's going to be. And you're like, well, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I still want to enjoy my life. Okay, well then let's dial it back and let's see what it is that it's okay for you to have a dessert every day. This is what's going to, this is the added risks that you take on for doing that. The benefits. We'll tell you what the costs are, and we'll figure out the best way. Okay, you still do that. You can still carry that extra 50 pounds, but you're going to have to take this medicine because, and we'll explain all that why. So that we're basically the idea, at least for me, is to provide you the information that you need to make a good choice based on whatever it is that your values are and what your individual lifestyle is.
So you guys brought up the fact that you have in-house your own pharmacy. That's not something you typically see at most doctors. They usually send you to CVS or Walgreens or those kind of things. And so, like if I have continuous prescriptions that I'm on, like heartburn medication or blood pressure medication, things like that, what do you usually see as the savings benefits for you having that directly versus CVS or some other version of that? Because that's a big cost for most consumers.
Cost and convenience.
Yeah.
Convenience, you can get it right there at your appointment.
So I'll come in and see you and you'll hand it to me right after my appointment's completed?
Yes. Convenience with simple things. Trying to give a better example than the one that's coming to mind, but say for example, one of the females has a yeast infection.
Yep.
I don't need to see that. Just call, describe what's going on. You know your body better than I do. If that's what it sounds like, swing by and get a Diflucan. Simple.
So you're able to handle those things from the conversation over the phone through the interaction, and then because of your proximity, you're right there,
Yeah.
able to handle it. That's huge.
Now, if that didn't work, okay, now you need to go to Women's Health, but we're
Yeah.
right next door to Women's Health.
Sure.
So anybody that's worried about 2 male providers, you don't have to see us for that sort of thing.
You brought up a good point that I completely forgot about. But so you are part of my health plan. I mean, for my health goals. And so if I have to see a specialist or something like that, how is your interaction with that specialist with my history?
So we'll talk to the specialist on your behalf.
Okay.
Most of the specialists in Las Vegas love cash.
Yeah.
Because insurance doesn't pay them what they want to be paid.
Sure.
I think we've all gotten those statements to see what they charged and what insurance
Yeah.
paid. That price is just for the insurance company. Just like Steinberg or CPL Labs, they have cash prices, and they are considerably lower. So depending on who needs to see a specialist, we'll talk to the specialist on your behalf and help negotiate a cash price for you, and then we'll present you with the option. Hey, this is what you could see the specialist for through us, but it's their price. It's not really through us. Or you could use your insurance. But either way, that's outside of Valor, and that's with just the patient and the specialist.
See, that concern has always been one that, like I have to go see the specialist, and me explaining why I'm there versus the professional that sent me is a big difference. And I think that just for my personal sanity, that's a huge benefit of knowing that you understand what's going on, you understand the lingo. Some of it's over my head, and that's the job of every patient, is ask as many questions as you can to try to explain it to my wife when I get home. And so you'll even do that if I need you to do it, from what you said.
I think this is where the idea of the concierge
Yeah.
service comes in, is where we will be kind of that broker between you and the specialist. We have relationships with several specialists in the area. So these are ones that we know and that we trust and that we think are quality people. And so that's who we can negotiate with you for. The other thing that we can do, though, is if you do have insurance, a lot of times the insurance says you need to be referred by their provider
Sure.
in order to go see a specialist. We can do that. We can be the intermediary for that. So you come see us. We're like, okay, we've already diagnosed you. We know what you need. We're going to call your insurance company and say, look, you can waste your money and you waste time by making this your customer go to their thing, or you can just trust me as a doctor. I will send you their notes, the clinic notes and stuff like that, and then so you can go directly to the specialists and stuff without having to go through that. That's part two. So we will do that for all of our patients. Just try to work that out. And again, like Ben said, once you're out of the door, it's but we will do as much as you would like us to
So I'm
do
not,
as far as
I'm
setting that
not
up.
losing anything that my current provider has. I'm only gaining benefits that you guys are willing to help with, which I think that's a lot of times people think, well, am I giving something up or will I lose something? The amount of interaction that you're willing to have with me as a patient is, I think, the cornerstone that most people deal with, that they can't get answers. All right, so we've talked about your background. We've talked about the incredible practice you're putting together. And so now I know the question on everyone's mind is, how many millions of dollars is this going to cost? Because when people think of concierge medical or direct care, they're thinking dollar signs.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how affordable this is and what it looks like for me as an individual.
Okay. Age-based pricing. We have 3 tiers.
I just turned 41 just this week.
You just elevated to the highest
Oh,
tier.
yeah.
All right, so we'll start at the bottom. 18 and under,
Uh-huh.
$50 a month.
Oh, wow.
But they have to be enrolled with a parent.
Sure.
19 to 39 is $100 a month,
Okay.
and 40 and up is $125 a month.
So for me to be covered under this program, this membership service, I'd only be $125 a month to have all of the benefits. I mean, are there does everything like conversation and add-on? There's no co-pays when I see you. I mean, it's just $125 a month.
Correct.
I'm
Yes,
guessing
there's
blood
no
work and stuff like that,
co-pays.
of
There's
course.
nothing like
Yeah.
that. You come in to visit. Some of the stuff. So like we have negotiated the lab prices or the medications
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We give those to you at cost. We do not mark it up whatsoever. You can.
Those are all secondary pieces that
Yeah.
I would choose to
So-
participate in.
But otherwise, and then if we have, I don't know, if you end up with a broken leg and we provide you with the big boot or something,
That would be separate.
yeah, that's it. We would give you at cost for what that
Understandable.
is.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, everything's covered.
Wow.
We'll cover your lab work that you need for your annual exam.
Wow.
That's all. Yeah, that's all covered.
That's
part
on
of it.
us.
You know, when I think of something like this, like when I think of care at this level, I had an interaction previously with a concierge doctor, and they charged $5,000 up front, and it was hundreds, like $500 or $600 a month on top of that, just for me to get almost, and not even this level of care. And so when you say affordable, this really is. My cell phone bill is more than that per phone. And so for that same cost, I could have the ability to know that my health will be a priority in my life. And I don't know how I don't know how I couldn't sign up for it. I've already signed up for it, and thank you for myself and my wife, my daughter, and my parents. But the point is, it gave me such a safety in my mind to know that I have someone I can call. Especially if I have a cold or something comes up, or I just got back from traveling, and you always come back sick, and it feels like that at least. And it's just having that ability to call you guys. For my sanity, it's helped. Yeah, love it.
I love it too. That's what I love to hear.
So my experience, I don't want to tell them, I want you to tell them, but what are the first steps that someone would take after they say, okay, sounds good? What happens then?
We'll sit down with the individual and we'll do kind of a more in-depth interview with them, making sure that we are a good fit for them and that they are a good fit for us.
Sure.
There are some patients that we cannot take. We're not internal medicine docs. We are not pain medicine specialists. So there are things that we just don't do, but we'll let you know that.
Sure.
And if we can't work something out, maybe we can help you on another side of things. But we'll sit down with an interview, or sit down and do an interview with the patient, make sure that they understand how we work. We do have some requests as far as getting a hold of us. I don't want a phone call at 3 a.m. to remind me to fill cholesterol medication.
Yeah.
That's not appropriate.
Sure.
Make sure they understand we are not an emergency room. I can handle urgent care.
Yeah.
But we're not an ER. If you think you're having a heart attack,
Go to the ER.
call 911.
Yeah.
Don't call me.
Yeah. Call you on my way. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll come see you. We'll visit with you.
That's
But we're family practice. There are things that are out of our scope.
sure.
So we'll sit down with the patient. We'll make sure we're a good fit for each other. We have patient agreement forms that we'll run through so they understand different things, and then we'll get you scheduled.
So for all of you that are listening, the point would be that it's extremely easy to sign up and to get enrolled in the service. We can do it a number of ways to get you guys connected with them. We can, if you send me or any of the office managers text in the app just with, hey, my name and I want to get signed up, we will connect you directly with Valor. Valor will reach out and go through you the sign-up process. You can do that here in the Signature app. And then you guys also have a website that they could go to. You have a phone number they could call. So what we'll do is we'll be promoting that out in an email blast to the company so that everyone has it. The great thing is when you find a great service that people love and care about, the first thing we want to do is refer you. And so work the same way. If I'm a family, let's say that husband, wife, kids, and parents that live in the home or maybe or something like that, can they sign up as a family all together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Two things about that. We do have an enrollment fee.
Okay.
The enrollment fee is a one-time $100 fee. That's going to cover a lot of the setup charges, getting your medical records, uploading them into our new system, creating you a patient portal in that system.
Sure.
But that fee will be, if there's 4 of you signing up for the family at the same time, that's just that one
Fee.
single $100 fee for all 4 of you.
That's awesome.
And also with a monthly fee for the subscription, if it's a household of 4 or more, the 4th individual and subsequent ones, if you have 9 or more, I don't know, we offer discounts for that as well.
Oh, okay.
And we'll explain all that as you come in.
So if I'm a family of like 7, it may be a cheaper fee because we're all signing up together to cover, the family and the kids and things like that together. That's fantastic. Beta's giving me a signal. We must have some questions from the audience.
The location of your office.
Yes, where are you located?
We are in the Centennial area. We're in the Smith's Shopping Center off of Sky Canyon.
Mm-hmm. That's the one with the bar in it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So come out and see them and then hit the Smiths. I do want to pinpoint on the relationship between Valor and Signature because we have this relationship together. We are planning, as long as it works out, to have you guys come out and participate in some of the offices for signups and just being present and meeting the agents and things like that. So even if their office is out here in the Northwest, we will have the ability for you guys to cycle around to our locations and meet the family here at Signature. Beta, more questions? No. Okay. Well, guys, I want to thank you for being here with us. I want to thank you for creating this program. I mean, it's an answer to a lot of prayers that I've been asking. Any final thoughts you want to share with our group that they should know about you guys in the program?
Well, we are really excited.
Yes.
We are just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be some growing pains, but we hope everybody will help us through that.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to actually, again, looking for the patients, what you guys want from us, and saying, let's see if we can do that. Because
we'll absolutely tailor some of our services to what people want or need to make it work for everybody.
Yeah, I love it. Let me just tell you, incredible guys, incredible families that they work with, and I'm super excited. I know you will be too. And so if this is an answer to a problem you have that you need some type of health provider that you can trust and rely on, we found them. So reach out and let them know. And as always, make it a great week. Thank you for joining us for our virtual sales meeting.